Hey everyone, welcome back to Vinyl Friday, where I go through my records in alphabetical order like a humongous nerd and talk about the things that I love about each album. Sorry, what was that? You like my hat? Why, thank you. I made it myself and I finished it 2 days ago. Today, we're still on the Red album, but we're looking at the B side. Okay, a couple of things I want to preface this episode with that I didn't mention last time. The first is that I love the cover of this. I love that it's Beatles at the beginning, Beatles at the end. But I'm really saddened by the fact that they look so much happier here than here. They're kind of somber and like, John in particular is like, do I have to do this? Why am I doing this? But in the beginning, he's stoked. He's so excited to be there. That's really sad. His spirit has been broken. The second thing I wanted to mention is that the lyrics are on the inside fold envelope. Pocket? Slip? I don't know, I don't remember what this is called. Hit me up in the comments. And I'm not trying to just get you to comment. I'm serious, I can't remember what this is called. And the thing that I thought was really interesting about this is that they spell yeah, Y-E-H. And I've always thought that yeah should be spelled with an A, because Y-E-H is yeah, not yeah. Yeah. Good, okay. On to the music. So this was down to 2 songs for me. It's always very difficult for me to choose a one Beatles song because I just have so much love for so many of them. But it was going to be between We Can Work It Out and You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. And I chose You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. Why have I chosen this song? That's an excellent question. The reason that I've chosen this song is actually pretty simple. This song heralds a new era of Beatles, a new phase, a new evolution in their existence as a unit. This is on Help, because we don't do the capital versions here. That is not the real thing. That's what I think, and I'm sticking to it. So this is on Help. It's clear that they've discovered Dylan. They've largely abandoned their electric guitars and replaced them with acoustic guitars. Not entirely, obviously, but it feels like they're really dabbling in Dylan and playing with new sounds and aren't really sure what they're doing, and so they keep reverting to the rock and roll covers that they love doing. They do it in the Get Back project as well. If you've seen the 3-part documentary, which I have twice, so it's 18 hours of Beatles viewing and I don't regret a thing. Whenever they're not really sure what to do next, they just start playing rock and roll covers. And in a way, Help is a little bit the same in that it's these beautiful, introspective, delicate, detailed songs, like Yesterday and You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, interspersed with these, I guess, somewhat incongruous rock and roll songs, like The Night Before. I love that song, but it's very early Beatles and it doesn't really feel like it fits in with this album as much. And even songs like Ticket to Ride, which still have a rock and roll skeleton, or perhaps is a direct descendant of their earlier rock and roll stuff, it still has an edge to it. But it feels like they're not quite there yet. It reaches this new... You know what, the hat's kind of itchy. I'm gonna take the hat off. I love the hat. Just not feeling it exactly right now. Giant hat hair. So it feels like they really get it together around Rubber Soul. It feels like they had a vision and they were like, right, let's do the thing now. Listen to these chords. Here I stand, head in hand, turn my face to the wall. Those are all really interesting chords, whereas a lot of the rock and roll songs have 3 chords. I guess part of the appeal and how so many young people get into it. So I feel like is, for some reason, a mature departure from I buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. Get you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. They're growing as people. John Lennon's now 25, I think, 25-ish. They're different people from the sort of 21, 22-year-olds they were when they started releasing music. Musically, the thing that I really love about the song is that it goes... For some reason, that chord change really does it for me. It's also in We Can Work It Out, and I think that's why it was my second choice. Try to see my way, to have to keep on talking till I can't go on, is the same as in the equivalent key. So something about that really speaks to me. Thanks, Beatles, for doing it so much in your music. It's not only that the chords have a more mature feel, it's also the way that he's playing them. He's giving his guitar a little bit of a melody, so he's not just playing. To be fair, I love Can't Buy Me Love. No hate on Can't Buy Me Love. He's not just playing the chords, he's allowing the chords to tell the story. So he's, let me hear you say, So there's the melody. He's even harmonizing with it. Let me hear you say, hey, you've got to hide your love, Just like a little call and response that he has with his guitar. At the surface, it sounds like. But if you listen more closely, you can hear. And maybe some of it is the bass, but I'm definitely hearing it in the guitar as well. So you've got. I just feel like they care a little bit more about what the instruments are doing. Given how the melody is structured, as a songwriter, it sounds like those chords happened as the song was being composed and not added later. Whereas, like in the last episode, I was talking about Please Please Me, the part that goes do, come on. That feels like it was more of a stylistic choice in the arrangement than a deeply embedded part of the song that began at the song's inception, if that makes sense. There's a bit more intentionality, I guess, at the birth of the song. Lyrically, it's also a little bit more complex than lyrics that he's written in the past. It's not really clear who he's talking about or to, or who he's hiding his love away from, but even that's a little bit more interesting than I'll buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel all right. There's just more going on, and there's more to think about, more to reflect on when you're listening to it. The last thing that I have to say about this song is that a lot was made out of the string quartet that was arranged for Paul's Yesterday, and he was feeling like it threatened his rock and roll masculinity, I guess, in that it didn't feel authentic or raw enough. It felt like it was a little bit too polished and too posh. But on the same album, it didn't seem to stop John Lennon, because there's a lovely little flute at the end of this song. No one's making a big deal out of that, so maybe Paul's just being a bit of a drama queen about it. Flutes aren't very rock and roll. I mean, they can be. Ian Anderson, alright. Actually, that's not fair. I'm in a band with somebody who plays flute, and she's pretty rock and roll about it. So I guess flutes can be rock and roll, but maybe not in 1965. John Lennon brought them into rock and roll. Maybe Ian Anderson couldn't have existed without You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. Who knows? Actually, that wasn't my last point at all. I wanted to talk about the music some more. I really like in this song how muted everyone is compared to how they normally are. Like if you listen to She Loves You, for example, you've got the Beatles just going ham on their vocals. They're strumming the hell out of their guitars, and Ringo is just like, he's got a vendetta against his hi-hat. He's just smacking it as hard as he can. It is loud. Everyone's going at it full force. In this one, we've got John Lennon on a beautiful 12-string acoustic guitar. So already the guitars are quieter. George is playing a classical guitar. There's very little bass in the mix, so it's not like a big, heavy piece. And I think Ringo's playing with brushes, but also there's this delightful little tambourine hit. So it's like a very stripped back Beatles performance, and it suits them. I guess that's what I mean about them entering a new era where they're not just playing really loud rock and roll and singing about juvenile relationships. I don't just mean relationships with juveniles, I mean relationships that are juvenile in nature. They're moving into a period where they're more introspective and they're exploring bigger themes. They're trying out new things musically. They're beginning to experiment with different sonic textures and instrumentation from what they're used to. So this album is very much the precursor to Rubber Soul. It's like Rubber Soul training wheels. I just think it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful song. 10 out of 10, John Lennon. Well done. That's it. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. And I will see you here next week when the Red Album becomes the Blue Album. Have a good weekend.